Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Water from the Rock podcast, brought to you, as always, by the Calvary Baptist Church. With me, the last few weeks, is once again my brother, Dustin Robbins.
Howdy, folks.
Nice to have you back in the studio, Dustin. How are things?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good. Trying to not stay buried today. It's crazy snow outside right now.
Yeah, I think, how many inches have we got of snow? Like 4?
I think we got 4, but I think they said it's supposed to snow for a couple more hours still, so we might get even more.
I thought it was supposed to be done by noon, but I'm not sure, and
I
it's
don't know.
11:30,
It
so
is Iowa. It could change in a heartbeat.
that's true. Let me look up real quick. AccuWeather.com. There we go. I'll check into that in a minute. But anyway, guys, as you guys have noticed, the sound quality is a little different than normal. We went back to our original recording devices, and if you've been following the podcast at all, you'll know that I don't know why, but specifically Dustin's episodes, it always cuts the last 2 minutes of recording off. And so we're trying to figure out how to fix that. And one of the things I got to do is when I'm recording with the better quality microphones, the amp and soundboard are in a different room. They're in our sound room. So I have to leave my laptop set up in the sound room. So I brought out our other recording equipment with our boom mics and our cheap little $40 soundboard that can handle 2 mics that plugs right in the computer. And what we're going to do is we're just going to run right off of this and see how she does today. So I do apologize for the early cuts on a couple of those episodes, but hopefully we'll be able to get that managed here real soon. But all that being said, it's good to be back in today.
Mm-hmm.
Right now my family, we're all getting sick with what you had, Dustin.
No, great.
Yeah, my wife's got it.
Mm-hmm.
She's getting over it a little bit. He's getting over it a little bit. Hazel came down with it last night, and I'm starting to come down with it right now.
Yeah.
So, and then Cyrus, who knows? I think he might be getting sick too. He's been extra fussy lately.
Tell you what, man, it's been going around.
Yes, it has. It looks like they pushed the snow out for another hour. You're right, Dustin.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm also looking up on my weather app. It said it's supposed to end at 1 p.m., but then it's supposed to start up again at 2 and then go to 5. So,
Looks like there's a 20% chance of snow, but
mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. It's Iowa. Like I said, it could change in a heartbeat. So hopefully
at least it's warm right now.
Yeah, hopefully it warms up and melts the snow off. I don't like it on the roads or the sidewalk.
I agree.
That's
Well,
shoveling I've got to do.
what I'm appreciating is what we're dealing with. Oh, darn. Okay, there we go. What I appreciate is what we're dealing with is the temperature is 20 degrees out right now as opposed to the negative 10 it was supposed to be. So we can go outside and shovel and not die, and that's nice.
Mm-hmm.
So, but anyway, guys, this is a Baptist podcast. Did you mess up your microphone, Dustin?
No, it's slipping off your desk, good buddy.
Loosen the clamp and then tighten her back down.
I did loosen her down.
We don't have a we don't have a fancy assistant up in here. It's just me. So, Dustin, here, loosen the little C clamp on the bottom, then tighten her back up.
Mm-hmm, which is what I did, yeah.
There you go.
Sorry, folks. I'm not really good at this stuff, so give me a second. It's all there.
Oh, she's tightened down enough.
Yep. I don't know what's going on. She just keeps slipping and sliding.
You're overextending, that's why.
Oh.
Yeah, you should probably moved a little bit closer, but that's alright.
So you want to restart?
No, should keep going with what I got. I'll just edit some of this out.
Okay.
Yeah. Don't scoot in those chairs. Those chairs are falling apart. They're 25 years old, so.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyway, quick update on Pastor. He's been having a lot of health issues. As you guys know, he's going through his cancer, and he's keeping really good spirits about it. The other day, I was talking to him. He's joking about dying because in his mind, it's not that big of a deal. In our mind, it's terrible, but the truth is it's not that big of a deal. And if he's in good spirits, that means he's telling jokes about it. So he's doing pretty good. Real tired, as you could imagine. He has no body fat left, and
yeah, I went over yesterday and I saw him, and he looked pretty good. He was alert, and he actually was awake for a couple hours. I was over there for about 2 hours. So.
And one of the things I really appreciate about my dad is he's still giving truth. He doesn't really respond as much to my texts and stuff anymore because he's sleeping a lot. But whenever he does, he's always sharing like really important things. And The truth is, guys, is I'm still holding on to a miracle. I still believe God's going to heal him. Um, I I don't know. Maybe I misunderstood God, but I think that there's a lot of things that God has done for him and shown to us that I believe God's going to heal him. So, with that being said, don't give up on him yet. I still got hope for him. I still got faith that God's going to work a miracle. But that being said, he is going to start chemo again here. I think it's this Monday, so in a couple days.
That'd be great.
Yeah, it's either that or a week from Monday because it's President's Day. I'm not sure. Um, but he is, I don't know. He's kind of just the same old guy, just sleeping a lot more, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But still cracking jokes, still being silly, but he's just sleeping a lot more because he's so tired and his body's hurting a lot. He doesn't really have much cushion left, like in his spine and stuff like that, from all the years of just all the stress of the ministry and my dad's always worked 70, 75 hours a week, and he's never
Mm-hmm.
been one to ever not do something. He taught me how to work on cars. He taught me how to build stuff. Um, he's taught me to be the man that I am, and in that he wore out his body a lot, so he's got a little bit of cartilage issues, and now a lot of his pain. The other day, I told him I was there the other day. He's just groaning. I'm like, "Your stomach hurting really bad right now?" He goes, "Actually, it's my back. My back's killing me," because he doesn't have any cartilage. So just keep him in your prayers. He's gonna be starting a pretty intense round of chemo here. It's gonna be pretty hard. It's gonna be several hours of chemo on a Monday, and then they're gonna send him home with a pump, or it's gonna continue to administer chemo for the next 48 hours,
Mm-hmm.
and they're gonna do that for 10 treatments or as long as he can stand it. They did start up his feeding tube, so that's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
They had to order him a pump, and so that will be in, so that way he can start using his feeding tube and hopefully start getting some nourishment back and getting some of his weight back. So
That'd be great.
it would be awesome. Um, let's see what else. I think that's all the updates on him. But what I want to share today with you guys and kind of cover with you, Dustin, is something that I've been talking a lot in counseling about. And
Mm-hmm.
it seems like counseling has been my primary source of
Yeah.
influence.
Excuse
Excuse
me.
me. That didn't
Jinx.
kill me. Go.
Never.
Anyway, um, what I've been talking primarily about in counseling, and it seems like that's kind of been the um, source of a lot of my messages and the podcast and stuff lately. It's just been the things that I feel like I just keep covering with people. Every week it's like a new theme. This is the problem. This is the problem. This is the problem. And I don't know. Just I want to share this with you guys. Hopefully, it's been a blessing to you. I think we might have even talked about this in the podcast years ago, and that's the subject of the five giants in the Bible. And
Mm-hmm.
Dustin, you remember at least the first giant. You wanna go ahead and just tell us the story of the first giant that we're going to talk about, and probably the only giant we'll talk about today.
Well, yeah, I can definitely do that.
Do you know where it is in the Bible?
Uh, I believe he makes his first appearance in, I believe, First Samuel, isn't it?
It is First Samuel. Do you know what chapter?
No, I'm going to say 4 or 7.
I want to say, honestly, I know it's chapter number 17. They talk primarily about it. And the reason why I know is because First Samuel chapter 17, verse number 47 was one of those verses that we had to memorize
Mm-hmm.
in Baptist Boys Battalion. You
Yes.
remember that?
Oh, I missed that so
Me too. I
much.
do really miss it. Um,
Teaching boys to be young men, teaching you
yeah.
how to
It's
discipline
essentially
yourself
like,
and control.
yeah, it's essentially like a Boy Scouts, almost like Christian
Mm-hmm.
Boy
It was
Scouts.
great.
Yeah,
Loved
we
it.
went out on camping trips and
Mm-hmm.
it was a
Loved
lot
it.
of
You
fun.
can earn instead of merit badges or awards, you wore a military like a
BDUs,
camel
yep.
camouflage jacket. You can earn stripes like a ranking stripe, and you could upgrade to the
Hmm.
next rank and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I missed
And
that
I
so
don't
much.
know. I don't know if the church we're going to wrote that program, or if that's something that was has
Mm-hmm.
been used widespread, like Awanas or something.
Oh.
Because I know they have a pretty extensive handbook that
Mm-hmm.
they went through, and
See, I've heard of Owanas and I've also heard of King's Kids, but I never heard about
mhm,
Split Battalion uh, until they introduced that.
sure.
So I don't know.
But anyway, one of the verses we had to memorize was 1 Samuel 17:47. And
Mm-hmm.
all this assembly shall know that the Lord saveth not with sword and spear, but the battle is
Battle
the
is the
Lord's,
Lord's.
and he shall give you into my hand.
Yep.
And that's what David replies to Goliath when he goes to
Mm-hmm.
fight him. But Dustin, go ahead and give us the rundown of what you remember about that story.
Well, I know, obviously, of course, he makes his first appearance. David is a young shepherd boy. He's probably honestly a little bit like me, in and out of trouble. He's not an adult yet. He's not coming to his own. He's kind of probably causing mishap and pranking his older brothers, that kind of stuff. But one day his dad wants him to take some food to his older brothers because they're at war, right?
Mm-hmm.
And everything. And how it was back then, they called on, I believe there was an age gap that they would call on, like between this age and this age. But they were at war with the Philistines, and then David shows up after I'm with his wagon of food and everything, and all of a sudden he hears yelling and screaming and cursing, and he just comes upon the scene, and Goliath is just throwing a huge old hissy fit because nobody's going to fight him, and he's trying to basically bully everybody
Mm-hmm.
on uh, um, the Israelite side. Sorry, folks. Um, and basically, David just loses it. He just goes up to his brothers like, "Who is this guy? Who is this guy? How dare he talk to us like that? How dare he act like that? Like he's all full of fight and annoyance. I you know how you are when you're a teenager. It's like you're not going to tell me what to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but at least it's with the righteous anger, I think. Anyways, which is, and I think probably the only type of anger to actually have.
So the thing is about David that I
Mm-hmm.
think you're leaving out is he's got a big backstory, and that's of him being the shepherd boy in the pasture. He wasn't expected to do much. They didn't really think
Mm-hmm.
highly of him. They actually had a bad opinion of him. When he shows
Yeah.
up to deal with Goliath,
Mm-hmm.
he asks, "Who's this dead dog?" Which was the biggest insult you could possibly
Yeah, it
lodge
was
at
like
him back then.
smack.
Yeah, he says that. It says, "Who's this dead dog that is basically defying my God?"
Mm-hmm.
And they said, "Oh, shut up, David. We know the naughtiness of thy heart."
Yeah,
He was an immature fellow. He was the youngest of
exactly.
9
They probably
brothers.
he probably got in trouble when he was younger, and he
Mhm.
was immature.
At this point, though, he's already been anointed to be king.
Well, that, and if you actually read the backstory of him, he's fought off a bear with his own hands, and I'm sorry, I don't
And a
know
lion.
exactly. I don't know a single person who could kill a lion with their own hands. I
Hmm.
don't know a single person who can kill a bear with their own hands. Not a
Now,
weapon.
now to put that in perspective, he was
Exactly.
considered the weakest of his
Exactly.
family.
And I don't know, but I'm a bigger belly guy. I got a little bit of weight to throw around, and I'm a full grown man. I don't know if he was as tall as me, and I'm 5'10", and
Well,
I'm big. I don't know how tall he was or how much weight he had, but I guarantee you I outweighed him.
yeah,
And
definitely, especially at that age,
I wouldn't
because
even try to
he's
touch that
probably between
situation.
15 and 17.
Exactly. I wouldn't want to go up against a lion barehanded.
At this point, David has been writing songs and writing
Mm-hmm.
psalms out in the backwoods and just worshiping God. And then, of
Mm-hmm.
course, like you said, he fought a lion and a bear, and I believe he used a sling, but I can't remember off the top of my head. But I can tell you this: he had decided that he wasn't going to be pushed around by things, and he was the youngest of his brothers, and they pick at him, and
Mm-hmm.
he's already been anointed to be king by Samuel.
Mm-hmm. So
So go ahead.
no, I was just gonna continue with the story, but do you have anything else?
I was just gonna say, so I mean, he's already kind of went through a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
Even whenever Samuel said, "All right, Jesse, show me all of your children," he called every one of his boys, but not David. I just think
Mm-hmm.
that's interesting.
Mm-hmm. You
But
know what also is a really interesting point I just thought of, like literally just a second ago,
mhm.
is he took off when later on in the story we look at, and he basically gets an approval to go fight because he says if nobody will fight him, I will, because the King Saul was looking for somebody to take him on and was going to reward him greatly, and David said, "I'll do it. I don't care." And then when he got the approval to go fight him, the Bible says that he took off. He ran down the hill to meet Goliath. He didn't walk down there. He didn't like stroll down there like, okay, I got to build my self confidence. All right, let's do this. All right, David, you can do this. No, he took off running. So my whole thought that just happened right now is when he was anointed by Samuel to be the next king, he must have truly believed that. And he must have truly believed that his life won't be over until he's king. Because why would you run into a situation where you're going to face off a guy 3 times your size?
Absolutely.
So he must have truly believed that. which is actually a pretty cool thing if you think about it.
Well, he also probably saw this as a fulfillment of God's promise
Oh,
because
yeah, absolutely.
one of the things that Saul had promised to the man who killed Goliath was that he would basically be honored almost as if he was royalty by giving him all sorts of money and
Mm-hmm.
bounty and reward. But he would actually make him royalty by letting him marry his daughter, Micah.
Mm-hmm.
Micah or Michael? It was Michael.
I, I'm not sure.
Anyway, so David probably saw this as a fulfillment of God's promise. Hey, look, I'm going to be able to marry a princess. That's going to make me a prince. And,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, one of the things I think that stands out a lot about David here is, first off, he's redheaded. Those redheads, man.
I know they're trouble.
But he goes charging down there, like you said, and he stops at the brook there, and he picks up 5 smooth stones. And we
Mm-hmm.
know that that's going to be a picture because he's literally calling out Goliath. He's calling out, basically, saying that I have a mark for you and your whole family,
Mm-hmm.
and that you guys will be mine. So, just a second. All right, sorry about that, folks. We have, like as you guys know, we talked about it earlier. It's snowing right now, so it actually is kind of lightened up. And one of the young men in our church has bought a plow for his truck, and so him and his brother are here to scrape the sidewalks and do all the plowing to get the snow off the lot. And I really appreciate that. But they came inside and asked us to move our cars. So we didn't even know they were even here yet. So, oh well. But anyway, that was sorry for the interruption there, guys. But getting back to the topic here, we were talking about David, talking about him and his
Mm-hmm.
brother, or him and his brothers and their terrible relationship. And then we were talking about Goliath. But anyway, then of course, as you guys know, David comes flying down the hill and he goes
Mm-hmm.
and attacks Goliath. And as you know, Dustin, like we said, for all assembly shall know that the Lord saveth not with sword or spear, but the battle is the Lord's, and he shall give you in our hands.
Mm-hmm.
But why don't you go ahead and wrap up what happens with Goliath here?
Well, basically, he like you just said, he stops at the brook. He runs down the hill. He stops at the brook, which I don't even know the name of the stream, but I'd like to know that. But he grabs up 5 stones and everything because basically he marked Goliath. That's what you just said. And then he goes out to Goliath, and Goliath basically he confronts Goliath. And Goliath says, "Who am I? Am I a dog that you have come at me with basically a staff?" And he just starts picking at David, making fun of David. He doesn't have a sword, doesn't have a spear. He just basically has a slingshot and a stick, and just like almost laughing at him, bullying him a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And David's not having any of it. He's confident in the Lord. He's confident in His promise. And he's like, "Today you'll die, and you'll die by my hand, because God will deliver you into my hand. You're dead. Basically, you're dead meat." And of course, when you go after a bully or confront a bully, they're gonna do one of two things. Number one, they're gonna run because they're scared or because they're a bully. Or number two, they're gonna bluster and they're gonna like, "Oh, how dare you do that to me?" And they're gonna puff up and then go after it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's what Goliath does. He puffs up and he basically just like tries to go after David, and David loads up his slingshot and or sling, I'm sorry, and then just whips it right into the forehead. And what's really interesting about how he does it is I'm a very big guy. I love armor. I love weapons. I love weaponry. I do. I've always loved it. Most of the armor sets back then, you look at the helmets, you look at shields, you look at breastplates, you look all that kind of stuff. They usually cover up every place except for like where the eyes and the nose and the mouth are. Like they cover up the forehead most of the time. They cover up everything. Like you have a very small margin of like space there, small area of space. And David not only had enough power behind his throw to get it to Goliath, not only was he able to get it into the small space, but the Bible says the stone sunk into his head. I don't think, like I said, even with David being able to kill a lion and a bear, I don't think he's that strong. So
Mm-hmm.
that means basically God was behind the rock. God was behind Goliath. And basically, is your last chance, Goliath? Okay, smack. And I believe God helped David end Goliath. And Goliath fell forward on his face, not backwards. If you get smacked in the face, you're going to stumble backwards. It's going to knock you winding. And if it's hard enough, you're going to fall back. I've been in boxing matches and everything where you get stunned, you fall back. You don't fall forward. And Goliath fell forward.
Mm-hmm.
And then
I think what
David,
happened there was God kind of said, "Hey, you're gonna run your mouth.
exactly,
Let's see how big you really are." And I
exactly.
think God knocked him forward into it.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
I think
Smack.
so.
And
And
then, of course, afterwards, David went over, chopped off, it took up his own sword and chopped off his head. And then the Philistines basically were terrified.
scattered.
Yeah, I mean, you just killed their ace in the hole. Yeah, you just basically nuked them.
Yeah, you
And
took out your captain.
exactly. And then, of course, the Israelites were, oh, we're not going to be afraid of this, guys. We can take these guys. David just killed this guy, and they
Mm-hmm.
run down the hill.
Which one of the things I do want to point out here, though, is that's kind of the end of the story of Goliath as
Mm-hmm.
far as like Goliath's life goes. But one of the things that we need to recognize is that Goliath's name means verbal reveling. It means
Mm-hmm.
verbal abuse.
Mm-hmm.
And as a child, as a young person, as a young adult,
Mm-hmm.
we have to defeat five giants in our life, and these are all symbolized by Goliath and his brothers, and their names are Saph, Lami, Ishbi-Benob, and then the six-finger giant that doesn't have a name listed. And these things represent different points in our life that we really have to get a control over, otherwise it will control us.
Mm-hmm.
And
Absolutely.
Goliath is the first one we have to face, and that's the truth of like most kids. I mean, we all grew up hearing the saying, "Sticks and stones may break our bones, but words will never hurt me."
Yeah,
That's a lie.
that is a lie.
Some of the most damaging things can be words,
The Bible
and
says the tongue is sharper than a two-edged sword sometimes.
yeah. But the thing is like women, if you want to destroy a man, don't use a weapon. Use your words.
Mm-hmm.
And nothing will break a man more than having someone that he's allowed to protect, or someone he's allowed to be a part of him that he's
Mm-hmm.
opened up his armor to, essentially, to
Mm-hmm.
rip him apart. It's the words.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
And men, if you ever want to cause a problem that won't go away for years and years and years, say something stupid without thinking.
Yep.
Trust me.
The Bible says to put a watch upon your lips, and
Mm-hmm.
you need to.
Yep.
Trust me.
Yep.
Been there.
And kids can do it to their parents without even realizing it too. I've done it by I've said stuff to my parents not even realizing it was bad
Hmm.
or hurtful, and sure enough, years later, it
Still is around.
exactly because I didn't know.
Yep. You're not wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is that I want to point out about Goliath today is, like I said, he's verbal reveling, and we have to be careful about these things. And how do you defeat it? Well, it's through humility. It's through
Mm-hmm.
understanding that who you are is not what you think you are. You are what God says about
Excuse me.
you. And if you accept the fact that you're what God says about you as opposed to what you think, it reshapes everything about who you are and helps you defeat these things. Now, I think is interesting is what happens to Goliath's sword. Do you know, Dustin?
Well, I believe it made I believe it went back to Israel, and it went through a couple of different places, but I believe it ended up into the church or a priest's house. And then when David was running from Saul later on, because when Saul tried to kill him, he went to this house of God or this house of the this preacher's house or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
whether it was a church or the preacher's house, and said, "I need a weapon," and they gave him the sword. And eventually, I believe Saul was enraged and destroyed that place, didn't he, or something
No,
like that?
no.
But I do know
So,
David got the sword back one day.
so the sword is put in the house of God. He's put in the
Yes.
temple,
Okay.
and he doesn't destroy the temple. But what he does do is, I'm not sure if it was Saul or Doeg. I can't remember because Doeg the Edomite, which the Edomites were the descendants of Edom, which was Esau.
Mm-hmm.
And so we see Jacob's lineage and Esau's lineage; they're brothers. They're still intermixing because you have the Edomites and the Kenites, and
Mm-hmm.
they both are descendants of Esau. But what you see is uh, David or Doeg the Edomite. It's either him or Saul starts killing the priests
Oh,
for
okay.
aiding David because they also
Mm-hmm.
fed him the table of showbread. I think it's interesting the fact that David went back to the thing that he had conquered and tried to find power in that instead of power through God.
Mm.
So what happens to Goliath's sword after that, Dustin? Do you know? What does David do with it?
I don't 100% know. I'll be honest about that, but I think doesn't he take it back to Gath?
Do you remember
because he
Who
ran to the Philistines later on in his life.
say? Do you remember who Goliath was? Like what tribe he was from, or what nation he was from?
He was from the Philistine, but he was Goliath of Gath.
Yeah, he was the Philistines.
Yeah,
So Gath is one of the chief cities of the Philistines at
exactly.
the time. And so they had this ability, which I don't believe they really understood genetics the way we do, but they had a
Excuse me.
understanding of how to essentially manipulate and create taller people. So what they would do is they'd have tall women have children with tall men, and they were trying to basically gather giants because they were formidable and they were most importantly intimidating.
Hmm.
So whether these five giants that we're talking about were literal brothers of Goliath or just like of the lineage, I can't remember off the top of my head. I'll have to do some research on
Like
that.
Brothers in Arms or something like
Yeah,
that.
I'll have to do some research. But uh, what we do see is Goliath is from Gath.
Hmm.
And that at the time, if I remember correctly, the Philistines had five chief cities. It wouldn't surprise me at all if these giants are from each one of those cities.
That's
But
an interesting
but
point.
David does take it back to Gath, and he
Hmm.
goes there. And why does he do that? It's because he's showing his strength. Now, did David kill Goliath?
He was the instrument that God used, but I don't believe he was the one that killed Goliath. I believe it was God.
Exactly. God is the one who's in control of everything.
Hmm.
As we've been talking about with God's sovereignty, whenever God is in complete control, God, God is always in complete control. And whenever whenever man comes to the understanding that God is in complete control,
Hmm.
all of a sudden it takes a lot of the pressure off of everything because you realize God's just sovereign and He's always meaning everything to you for good. So if God is in complete control and you've come to that understanding, you realize that nothing really happens in your life and you don't really do anything without God's permission. The Bible says that both good and evil come out of the mouth of God. And does that mean God sins? No. It means that even the devil has to ask permission to do anything before he can actually do it. So he has to ask God.
Hmm.
He's not pulling over a fast one. God's never
Hmm.
confused. He's never caught off guard. He's never surprised what the devil's going to do. The devil has to get permission.
Hmm.
Excuse me. So,
That's
go ahead.
I was just thinking that's what it means when God says I do all things together for good, or those
Yeah.
all things work together for good.
For all things work together for good to them that love God and are called according to his purpose. Romans
Because
8:28. You're right.
because he does it for your own good, even though you might not see it that way.
Exactly. So, what we need to realize here, what we need to remember, is this idea of verbal reveling. It comes from understanding your value in God.
Mm.
How you defeat this is understanding what God has to say about you. And then once that happens, those kind of things just don't really stick anymore. We used to say, whenever someone would say something mean about us or call us a name, we'd always say, "I'm rubber, you're glue. Whatever bounces off me sticks to you."
Hmm.
What we're saying is we're not going to let these things affect us,
Yep.
and we're just going to mark it return to sender. Whenever you, whenever you get to the understanding that God is in control and what He has to say about you is the truth,
Hmm.
because God can't lie,
Yeah, that's the only thing that really matters.
all of a sudden the rest of it falls apart. When your
Hmm.
spouse attacks you verbally, uh, whenever you get your boss picking at you, or someone cuts you off in traffic and they yell something mean at you, those things don't bother you anymore
Yeah.
because it doesn't matter.
Which, when if you live in Iowa, it probably happens a lot more than you think.
Yeah, you'd be shocked.
Oh yeah.
I've seen more one finger salutes in Iowa than I've seen them anywhere.
Oh, see, I just think they're waving at me.
Yeah, they are just one finger, but yeah, whenever you're driving a giant box truck for work, sometimes not that I ever try to cut people off. I always try to be a defensive driver, but
Hmm.
it never fails. There's always someone who thinks that you're out there to get them. And
Hmm. That,
that's
or
the
you
way it
won't let
is.
them pass because you have to obey the speed limit,
Exactly. Well, it's
even
not that
though
you're not
trust.
letting them pass. You're just not speeding up. And
Exactly.
I've gotten the one finger salute for going the speed limit because
Exactly.
if you speed, you lose your license. If you get
Hmm.
pulled over, you lose your job. If you get pulled over, rather,
Exactly.
excuse me.
Trust me. I mean, I would love to go faster,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm not gonna risk it.
Exactly.
So,
It's not worth it.
especially when it's snowing outside and everything else, like it's been for the last couple of days.
Absolutely. So, how we defeat Goliath is just coming to the understanding what God has to say
Hmm.
about us. And if you would like to know about what God has to say about you, I've seen a sheet around here somewhere. It's got 22 verses listed. What God has to say about us. I'll get it and I'll email it to you. And whenever we get that sheet, I'll email it to you. And then yeah, hopefully that'll help you get down this walk, and hopefully words will quit bothering you and set you free. But moving forward, I want to talk about Saf and Lami and Ishbi Benob, and then the Six Finger Giant. And we're going to talk about those in succession moving forward. But that'll be a time for another day. We're already pushing the 30-minute mark. So, Dustin, thank you for coming in today.
No, of course.
I appreciate you being a part of the
I'm
recording
enjoying
today.
it.
So,
I'm enjoying it. So
yeah, no offense, Dustin, but Pastor Robbins, our dad, but you're definitely doing a great job.
well, thank you. I appreciate it. I'm just trying to do my best and let God take care of the rest.
And that's all you can ask, and that's all I try to do. And yeah, so if this podcast has been a help to you today, I hope it has been. We pray over this every week and ask the Lord to use this to help set people free and give people life. So if this has been a podcast, if this podcast has been a help to you today, praise the Lord. If you want to let us know that you're praying for Pastor, if you guys want to let us know where you're listening from, because full disclosure, we can see countries of origin where people are downloading our podcast, what countries they're being downloaded in, but we can't we can't see who it is, we can't see what state, we can't see what city. So and that's only if you download it. If you stream it, well, I got no idea who you are. So
I would love to see us get one in every country. Wouldn't that be awesome?
that is awesome. You'd be shocked how many countries actually download our podcast.
Are
But
we allowed to say what the weirdest country that has downloaded us so far?
no, actually probably could, but I don't know if that would really be fair. But anyway, guys, feel free to just give us a shout out or comment on the podcast, or you can go to bytheblood.org and email me directly. So if you guys need any help, if you guys have any questions, if you guys have anything you want covered on the podcast, or if you guys want to know anything more about Pastor or anything that is going on in the church, we have a couple cool things coming up. Feel free to reach out to us, and I'll do the best I can to answer those questions and try to help. So with all that being said, that's going to do it for us. Thanks again, Dust, for coming in today.
No problem. Thank you for letting me be here.
Remember, everybody, the Lord loves you. Have a great day.